So when we look at the change in the reporting landscape for our asset management clients, we see consistently three kinds of pressures that they're dealing with. And I think there's some interrelationships between them. The first is really a pressure from new users. So people looking to leverage data within visualization platforms and custom reporting applications and different analytics applications. These users tend to be a little bit more demanding than we've historically seen. Then you also have the increasing pressure to produce artifacts to support new sales processes, RFIs, RFPs, and a lot of times those requests are very custom and very specific to that pitch or that client. And then the last piece of it, I think, is a kind of a regulatory and legal compliance. And all of these pressures combine in terms of creating complexity in terms of what the technology needs to support in terms of that asset manager. We've done a lot of investment in a few different areas. The first is when we look at that demanding user, we've begun to open up our application to allow users to access our data via APIs, which means that I can now surface data into a Tableau or to a Power BI more readily without a user having to have a lot of complexity in terms of how they're going to grab that data. Secondarily, we're addressing a lot of that legal and compliance challenge by making sure that any request coming through those channels is appropriately entitled, meaning that the user has access to that data set and the user has the ability to see the appropriate information about that data set without having to do a lot of configuration, because a lot of times those applications are a little too open. Now, the other thing we're doing is we've implemented a disclosures component into our platform. So when we're producing data sets for our clients, we can now describe it with rules and conditions so that if there's a need to push that content outside the four walls, it's appropriately disclosed, it has the right notes, and this way there's no exposure from a legal component. So the last piece of it is when we're dealing with these custom information requests, we've delivered a self-service application that allows users to write these custom RFI request responses within the matter of minutes or hours with full access to the data, again, with those disclosure components, so that they don't need that technical team to help them custom write that. All that data is immediately available via our user interface. I think when we're standing up the data warehouse, the focus needs to remain on keeping an eye on a measurable delivery for each phase. So rather than focusing on the end delivery of the entire data warehouse, we'll typically focus on a key business delivery that will allow users to either access information more easily or simplify the production of a particular report. By focusing on one business delivery, we create that cost justification and that value proposition early on in the project that allows us to gain faith in the clients and really kind of build out on that implementation iteratively. So rather than going with a big bang approach, we tend to focus on what we would call a more agile approach, where we focus on a delivery that's meaningful to a client at the outset of the project.